This time on IJDM, we're going to be fixing and modifying the Ryobi 18V One Plus cordless compressor up next.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
A quick episode today on IJDM. Just a little thing and a problem I've ran into with this Ryobi compressor. There's some kind of white powder. I'm hoping it's not corrosion, but it's some kind of white residue that either comes from the tank or somewhere in the system that basically clogs up this little regulator handle here. And the result of that, when it gets clogged up, this port does not work at all. It's just, you get a little bit of pressure and then that's it. It doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So basically what you want to do is unscrew this carefully, and you can actually, on yours you may be able to clean it out, but mine it was just too caked in there to get it out. But you'll find on the inside of this, and I take it out again, but I just got this all resealed and the job's kind of finished, but I figure it's still worth a quick video for those of you that have had problems with this compressor or issues with having air pressure on this side. And I'll explain why there's a right and left side here in a moment. But that's a nice little mod. But anyhow, what you do, unscrew this, and inside this you'll find a little filter thing. Don't worry about that, and a couple springs. Just be cognizant of where they are. And you just want to clean out those holes and everything, and just kind of pinhole them out and just get them all nice and clean. That being said, if you do want to have a dual port or you don't really use this regulator, I never did. It's basically to reduce the pressure out of this port over here. Never used it in the year I've had this, so totally useless to me. I just rather not have the same thing happen again. So that all being said, what I basically did was I took the little, there's like a little cap cover with a little pinhole. I took that off of the inside of here and then basically kind of sealed up everything on this side where it vents out. There's still a little air that comes out if I turn this. That's why, if you can see, I put do not touch, because if you turn it one way or the other, it will start leaking air, and I don't need it to do that. It's just fine the way it is. And once I got everything screwed back in, I have a right port that's good to go again, and I don't have to worry about this getting clogged up because it just passes straight through. There's no filter, there's no harm in it that I've seen. Everything as far as the maximum pressure around 120 on this compressor, it shuts down until it gets down below a certain point, which I think is around between 90 and 60. Then it'll start back up and refill to 120. So this has nothing to do with the safety circuit. This is purely an airflow regulator for this port over here. Now, there's an interesting thing on the design of this compressor. What I'm going to show you as I flip this around, and I'm only one-handed here today, so I'm just using my handheld camera, so hopefully we're nice and focused today. So as you can see on the back side, I actually have, where the original connector was, I actually have a new one. I just decided to go with a brand new one, make sure it had good seals. And on this side, there's also a port. So I have a right port and a left port. Well, depending on which way you have this thing facing, but obviously this would be the right and this would be the left if I had it flipped around. What was on this side is basically one of these gimmicks, and I'm not going to hold it too close to the camera. It's basically a pressure relief for the tank to drain the tank once you're finished. I never use this. I usually just drain it through the little air gun thing, or I just press this little thing in on the end of the tire thing, and it drains it out in a few seconds. And even then, there's usually a few small leaks or whatever, so it drains on its own. Some people say you're not supposed to leave air in the tank and this and that, but over the years, I either have or have not. But there you go. There's your connector on one side, your connector on the other side. What is this handy for? Well, if you're doing some type of painting or whatever that requires air pressure, then obviously you can run two lines. Now keep in mind, this is only a 1-gallon tank, so you're not going to get a lot out of it. But if it's just a project where you're painting the side of a house or something, I'm sure it'd be enough pressure if you're just kind of taking your time and so forth, because it does take a little bit to recharge this tank, especially when you're using a lot of pressure in there. That being said, there is no way to regulate it. What it comes out as is what it comes out as, and there's a ton of pressure. It's just perfect for what I need it for. And I believe some of the sprayers have their own regulator, like on the side or so forth. I'm not an expert in this area. This is just a little hack modification that I did that I thought would come in handy, and it's done, and it's working fine. Of course, my little electronic tire gauge here to check my tires, I got that just velcroed on the back here, and then all my tools, and then my other ones hanging, of course, up on the front right here. And of course, these meters are just redundant now because they both send out the same pressure, but I just relabel them left port, right port, just to make it a little less confusing. If I have some friends or family over that need to fill up a tire and they're trying to guess which is which, well, there you go. And it doesn't make a difference. This thing, well, we don't need that thing. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and jump forward, and we're going to run a quick test and see how this works. Okay, we got the Ryobi One 18-volt battery, and we'll get that, go ahead and put that on there, and we're going to flip the switch. So I'll explain this as it's charging up so that you get a better idea of what's going on with this compressor. So basically what you have here is and that's basically covers everything on the Ryobi, explaining every little piece and part on there. I hope you got all that. I don't really want to explain it all again, but we're fully charged. As you can see, it stopped, and I'm just going to use the air gun here, but there is a tire thing that works just fine. You can trade it out. Just a lot of pressure on this when you try to release or engage it, so it's a good idea to change them out before you charge the tank if you know what you're using. So yeah. And obviously if it's charging up, it'll charge up faster than letting it go all the way down to 0. But that'll do it for this Ryobi modification, hack, mod, whatever you want to call it. Just something handy if you have one laying around and it stopped working, or before you go out and buy another one, that there is a way you can easily fix these units just by unscrewing this and just cleaning out those filters, or do what I did, take them out entirely and just make it into a 2-port compressor. Why not, right? We'll see you next time on IJDM. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button. We'll see you next time.